It's an honor to be part of this project because there are not many books that are focused on Africa and the fact that we have our own heritage. We have gotten on board a lot of Western ideals and into our culture, and we have forgotten our own. And so, what I like about the In-Betweener and about Mr. Kanzobia's work is that it actually does go back to remember that there was a heritage before we got into before we became westernized, so to speak. So that's what I like about the In-Betweener. It provides an alternative narrative to death and the afterlife, which for me is worth considering. Having this alternative, so to speak, just remembering or even asking questions of what if, actually provides a solid place in which we can have our existing belief systems challenged so that they can either be strengthened or broken down and we build up a new one. So when the book starts, I am partial to Kumo, the main character, and her husband, but then as the book continues, it is revealed that her husband is actually he's a normal man, or should I say he has some faults, and so I feel a bit like he's a bit of a villain. But at the same time, outside of Kumo, I actually am a big fan of Kumo's daughter. She's feisty and she comes off very, very strong. She's not afraid to tell her dad or even her mom certain things. I feel like it represents the perfect relationship that a parent and a child should have. And even though it's a more modern take on the African parenting and scenario, I feel like it represents a much more updated look. Desego's character as an in-betweener, there's a lot that she brings, and you want to find out more about who she is and how she lived her life. So that's how I feel about the In-Betweeners. Okay, so editing the book was an honor, of course. I was mainly doing spelling and grammar and just a few touches in terms of the plot, but I wasn't very heavy-handed there. I did realize as I was reading the book that I was learning more about our heritage than anything else, and I was schooled by going through the material. In the book, I do like the fact that these spirits have a mind of their own. They remember bits of what they were like when they were alive. And interestingly enough, Jimmy does not necessarily explore reincarnation in the book per se, but the spirits they come back to life, but they don't necessarily go on to live in other people's bodies or to become reborn per se. Even though there's an interesting caveat to that in the first book leading to the second book, which we'll get into later on. It's already a series in book form right now because I believe there's another book coming after this. But it's the potential for the book to expand into several other types of art is there. And I believe that as writers, we need to start seeing our work as exactly that. As writers, we're not making as much money as we should, despite the fact that we are producing pretty good material. So I strongly believe that even as you read The In-Betweener and the first book, The Night Asher, and the book that comes after this, that you will see the potential for this book to actually be much, much more. So I recommend buy the book, read it, and think about ways you can actually interact with it in different ways.